Hi, welcome back to the Pampered Chef Show. I'm your host, Hudson Hodges, and today I will be making pork tenderloin with roasted vegetables using some of my favorite Pampered Chef products. You can look at my online catalog, linked to my videos, and look at some great Pampered Chef products.
Go.
Today what I'll be using to make my pork tenderloin is the deep covered baker. First of all, it is part of the stoneware collection of Pampered Chef. Second, it is microwave and oven safe, and some Pampered Chef people call it the magic pot because it can be used for so many great recipes. Today I'll be making a pork tenderloin in the microwave in my deep covered baker in less than 10 minutes. Next, my cookbook. It is specifically made for the deep covered baker. It has so many great recipes in it, like my pork tenderloin I'm making today. And finally, my one of the many Pampered Chef rubs and spices. This one specifically is the smoky barbecue rub that I will be rubbing on my pork tenderloin today to give it a great spice. Today, to make my pork tenderloin recipe, I will be using the microwave version of the pork tenderloin. Now, I do remind you that you want to use a pork tenderloin, not a pork loin for the microwave edition. And this recipe actually calls for 2 of them.
Okay, now once you cut your pork tenderloin out of your package, you want to kind of cut off a little bit of this excess fat here with a nice sharp knife, which Pampered Chef has a lot of great knives to choose from in the online catalog. And the most important thing to make sure that it's not chewy or unpleasant is to cut off what I call the silver skin. It's bluish and it's like a muscle in there, and you're going to see it. You're going to see me cutting just this white silver part off here, and you don't have to clear off every piece of fat. Of course, fat gives your meat flavor, but you're going to want to take off at least this tough silver portion here. You can see it here on camera. It almost looks like paper wrapped around it, but it is a very tough coating on that meat, and you want to definitely cut this off. It will make your meat tough and very chewy, and that's definitely not something that you want.
Now that my mom has cut off the silver skin, I'm going to use my Pampered Chef Smoky Barbecue Rub to marinate the pork tenderloin. And if you have time to do that, you can tenderize it and wrap it in aluminum foil and put it in the fridge for a few hours so it can really soak up that flavor. But if you don't have time, that's fine too. It'll still soak up some of the flavor.
So I'm just going to rub this in.
So I'm just going to rub this in here so it'll get a nice, good, smoky flavor. Now that I've tenderized my pork tenderloin, I'm going to put it in the aluminum foil and wrap it up. Now that I have marinated my tenderloins, I'm going to put them in the fridge for a few hours. Now, what you want to remember is to clean your countertops very good, since you have put barbecue dealing with pork. You want to clean them with a disinfectant so you can have a nice clean countertop for your next part.
And like Hudson said, if you have time to marinate your pork tenderloins in the refrigerator for a few hours with your rub, that's great. It gives it a great flavor, but you can still have a great tasting pork tenderloin without marinating it for several hours.
Tonight we are roasting potatoes and broccoli, and I have set my oven to 425 degrees. I mixed it up in a little bit of canola oil.
Okay.
And now I'm going to pour it onto my Pampered Chef large bar pan.
Very good.
Yeah, I can do it without spilling anything.
Okay. Now you're gonna spread more.
Now I'm going to spread them out.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And so I can sprinkle a good amount of Tony Chachere's on a lot of it.
Okay. All right, like Hudson said, we coated them in canola oil so that the seasonings would stick. And we're sprinkling some Tony Chachere's on here to get some good seasoning in. Okay, and we're going to put these in the oven to roast at 425. And these will have to go in before our tenderloin because that's only going to take about 10 minutes in the microwave.
Now that my pork tenderloins have been marinating in the fridge for a few hours with the smoky barbecue rub, I will now place them in the deep covered baker.
Okay. Now, one of the things you want to remember when placing these in your deep covered baker, you're going to put both of them in at the same time, is a lot of times on your pork tenderloins, there's always one side that is a little thinner than the others. Kind of just tuck that under just a little bit where the tail end part is very thin. Okay, we're going to put both of these in together side by side, and you'll notice that this end's a little bit thinner, so I'm actually going to tuck it under just a little bit. That's to make sure that all of the tenderloin has about the same thickness so it will cook evenly. So you want any thin ends you want to tuck under. Now, we want the tenderloin to not touch in the middle because we want it to be able to cook in the center. You do not want to put them together where the center doesn't cook. Okay? Alrighty. Now, Hudson is going to put the lid on because his hands do not have pork on them. And we're going to put these in the microwave for about, I always start with about 8 minutes to see how it's working out. But it usually takes about 9 to 10 minutes depending on the size of your pork tenderloin. Now remember, once you're done microwaving your dish, you're going to leave the lid on and let it sit for about 15 minutes. So your pork will continue to cook after the microwave is done. And of course, you always want to use a meat thermometer to make sure that your pork is cooked thoroughly.
Now that I have microwaved my pork tenderloin for about 10 minutes and let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes, I'm going to serve it and show you how great it looks.
Okay. And we're going to be serving that with our roasted vegetables here and some rolls. Okay, so we're going to cut that up and get it ready because everybody's waiting to eat. They're hungry. So let's see here. All right. So we're going to come in here and we're just going to cut up a little bit of this to show you how great it looks. Letting it rest is really important. And also too, you probably saw in the video the juices that it's created at the bottom, and those are always really good to save to pour onto your pork to give it more flavor. That's not something, you don't want to waste that flavor.
Now I have prepared a delicious dinner with pork tenderloin, roasted vegetables, and rolls. The preparation time was about 15 minutes, and the total cooking time was about 25 to 30 minutes.
All of this was with some of our favorite Pampered Chef tools.
Hope you enjoyed my Pampered Chef cooking show tonight. You can find all of these amazing products that I used tonight and many more on my online catalog connected to my videos. You click on the link. My show is ending on July 30th, so remind all of your friends to order what they want by then.